Hello and welcome. I'm Carl Conley with Netmaven, and you're watching The Edge. At The Edge here, we try to demystify 5G. And today on this show, we're going to be joined by Jay Noschese. Jay is part of the Advanced Network Solutions team at T-Mobile, where he and his team are working with customers and partners alike to bring custom-designed 5G solutions for the enterprise. So Jay, without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do at T-Mobile?
Hey, good to see you, Carl. Yeah, in my current position at T-Mobile, I'm a senior sales manager within the solution sales organization of T-Mobile. And our team's focusing on, the advanced network solutions, which is really built around the capabilities of 5G now. So excited to be here with you.
Jay, it's very apparent, even in 2024, that many customers and partners are just beginning their 5G journey. And there's a lot of disinformation about what 5G actually is. Many people still think it's something that runs on their phone, which of course it is, but there's so much more to it. So help the audience understand a little bit about T-Mobile's go-to-market, your strategy, your value proposition, and why T-Mobile is different from the other carriers that are available to customers in North America.
No, you're spot on there, Carl. I mean, most people just think 5G, they think of a number on the back of their handset, right? They look it over, it's 5G and it's going to be bigger, better, faster. But the thing about 5G is it's not just a bigger, better, faster LTE. And I think what people don't understand is it's a completely brand new architecture and a network that's really designed to do things that we couldn't do before. It is a application-based, software-defined, programmable network that allows us to do stuff with wireless technology that we were really never able to do before. And to have great 5G, you ask about, T-Mobile's position in this, and, we're really a leader in 5G, but it comes down to a few things. In order to have great 5G as a carrier, you need a few things. First of all, you have to have the spectrum, and the spectrum is really the real estate that all the calls go across, right? So when it comes to spectrum, our spectrum holdings really differentiates us from our competitors. We have multiple bands of spectrum, and we have some mid-band spectrum that is unlike anything that our competitors have. And in the land of 5G, that really is what I'll call the beachfront property, right? So we're in an enviable space where we have the spectrum that allows us to do things with 5G that some others can't. So you can have the spectrum, but the other thing is, and our competitors have some spectrum assets, but you also have it deployed. So with our bands of spectrum, we've already deployed our spectrum to cover about 98% of the populations that's out there. So not only do we have the spectrum, we also have it deployed to cover, 98% of the population that's out there. And we do it in a couple different, ways to do that type of stuff. But then third, and I think most important is, how you architect your network. And this is probably the biggest differentiator as well between us and our competitors, or one of the differentiators is, if you look at traditionally how wireless networks have been run, I'll use the analogy of a two-lane highway. You're running 3G, 4G, a 5G overlay. And at the end of the day, you're just trying to manage congestion. And we have some of that in our network too, right? Because we have some legacy devices. In that scenario, all the intelligence is centralized back to a handful of data centers, right? So we have that too. But besides that, we have built this super freeway, let's call it an 8-lane super highway of 5G. And we've done this in a new architecture called 5G standalone. So a couple things changes when you go from non-standalone to standalone. First of all, we've taken all that intelligence and now it's virtualized, right? So it's closer to you, the customer. It's in our MSO. So you think of latency and performance, it's really closer to the use case and to the application. The second thing that happens is, for the first time ever within wireless technology, we can go in and we can grab one of those lanes and we can optimize that now and tailor that for a custom wireless experience. We can go in and we can adjust the latency, the capacity, some quality of service, which is really network slicing. So we're going to be in the process of releasing network slicing. So not only, you can release network slicing, but what that means to you as a consumer is now you can think about connectivity not just as a wireless plan, but how can I get a tailorized experience with wireless? And we're in the process of commercializing that here in mid 2024. We've been doing it on our network, for the past few years. We just did a big event in Vegas with the Formula One race, and we actually created a network slice back on our core network. And you think of the telemetry and the point of sales and everything that went on for that race, that was all done over wireless technology because of this standalone architecture and how we can create a slice to do things that we could never do with wireless technology. So we're super excited about our position because we have the assets, we have them deployed, but our architecture approach is completely different right now than our competitors. So it's really a fun place to allow customers to do things with 5G they couldn't do before.
That was a brilliant answer, Jay. Thanks so much. I hope the audience is now kind of understanding a little bit about T-Mobile's differentiation and certainly more about 5G as a technology. Now, as we just discussed, 5G for many is just in its infancy, and customers and partners alike are probably wondering how they go about engaging with T-Mobile to look at the use cases to try to figure out which applications may be suitable for 5G transformation. So can you help us understand a little bit by telling us a bit, what does T-Mobile do when it meets a customer or a partner? How do you engage? What's your go-to market? And how do you figure out which applications may be appropriate for 5G?
Yeah. If you look at how T-Mobile structured to support, enterprise accounts, and let's just lump all of business into enterprise. So we've taken our frontline sellers and we've segmentized them. We have a strategic organization, we have an enterprise organization, an SMB mid-market, and then we have our government organization, SLED and Fed. And then to support customers as we move forward with these next generations of solutions, we've stood up a solution sales organization that I'm part of. We took our IoT organization into solution sales. We have a collaboration and security team that focuses on MDM, and then our team that focuses around 5G connectivity. And it's really connectivity, what I say, in a non-mobile fashion. And stay with me for a minute, because if you think of the way that customers have consumed connectivity in the past, it really comes down to three ways. And I know we've had some conversations around this before, Carl, but you have the mobile, and people think of outside their building, and we're a wireless carrier, and mobility is played, and everybody knows us as a mobile player. The second pillar is really kind of the wide area network of how they consume and deploy connectivity. It's connecting those buildings within their environment, and that traditionally has been lease line, MPLS, SD-WAN, VPNs back to a route switch or an SD environment. And we've seen some wireless play there, but mostly in the secondary and tertiary. But because what we can do with 5G and what we can do from a capacity, a bandwidth, a latency, now customers are thinking, wow, I can really look at primary connectivity where I couldn't do that before. So we've really encroached in with our business internet and our connected workplace and our partner ecosystem for those endpoints within that wide area network. But where it gets really fun is now, because of what 5G can do, decision makers who consume connectivity within a LAN environment, which has traditionally been Ethernet and Wi-Fi as an extension of that, 5G can now play in that, because as their customers are trying to deploy what I'll call next generation use cases. So, in manufacturing, it can be smart video analytics, computer vision, autonomous type things. In healthcare, it can be clinical mobility, XR, VR, those types of things. What we're finding is all of those next generation use cases that require connectivity are really pushing the limits of legacy type of connectivity. And inside the building is really driving Wi-Fi crazy, right? At the end of the day, it's Wi-Fi is struggling to keep up with that. So what we're finding is that 5G now can be an architecture that comes in, and you can look at a cellular first approach with inside the four walls, which was traditionally, handled by Wi-Fi and Ethernet. But what's bringing that to us is the partners, right? You talk about a partner ecosystem, because every solution typically has an application to a device, and it's trying to get to wherever the application's housed, and then the connectivity in between. So what I love about, how we build out our partner ecosystem is the partners are out there with the the applications, the gadgets, the gizmos, the multicolor Lego blocks, I call them, and they're actually solving next generation use cases and challenges for customers to deliver a business outcome. But what we're finding is these need connectivity. So the partners typically have the use case, they have a fantastic strategic relationship, and now if you can package that with a cellular first approach, with a 5G standalone architecture, man, it's been a fantastic, marriage of opportunities there. And it's such a win for both the partner ecosystem and for what we can do with 5G. And more importantly, it's given the customers the business outcomes that they're looking for.
All right. Well, Jay, thanks a million. It's been great having you on this episode. I learned a lot, as I always do when I talk to you and your colleagues at T-Mobile. I hope the viewers found this useful. If you've got any questions about 5G, you want to understand the differences between 4G or Wi-Fi, you want to understand what use cases or where 5G is appropriate, please don't hesitate. Reach out to Netmaven and we'll be more than happy to engage with you and obviously bring in our partners T-Mobile into the mix. Thanks a million for watching. Have a great day.